What's up, guys? How's it going? My name is Joe. We are back with another episode of British Guy Reacts, and we are moving away from the MLB just for a short little bit, and we're going to do some NBA content here. Now, this video is by JXNY High Roller. Now, is a guy I've watched before in my own time. Very good YouTuber. I guess most of you guys have heard of him. He's got a lot of subscribers, but if you've not, go and check out his videos for sure. First time reacting to one of his videos, but I already know they're great because I've watched them before. Not seen this one, though. This one is, will anyone ever break LeBron's scoring record? Now, the playoffs have begun. We just seen the Lakers got a bit of an upset win there against Memphis, and LeBron, I think, got 20 points. Nothing crazy, but he got 10 rebounds like he always does, and his assists along the way. If you're new around here, please do subscribe to the channel. Give the video a like. Comment down below if you like this kind of content, and we'll dive straight in. Let's have a look. Let's have a ganders. Will anyone ever beat his record?
Games, 53,742 minutes.
It's gonna take a while if they do.
27,829 shots, and nearly 20 years later, LeBron James has scored more points than anyone else in NBA history. Once believed to be an unbreakable record, broken. And with LeBron still going strong, one can only wonder where this scoring record could end up, and if LeBron's new record will ever be broken. And I know, every time a record is broken, that new mark becomes the unbreakable record, only to be broken years later, just like all the ones that came before it. But will LeBron's scoring record truly be an unbreakable one?
We're going to be like 80 if someone breaks his record.
Who could possibly be the player to do it?
Back in my day, there was this man called LeBron James.
Prodigy is, yes, absolutely.
Records are made to be broken over and over.
Back in 1947, the NBA was a whole lot different than it is today. From the gear to the rules and even who was interested in the game of basketball. At the time, most sports fans would rather witness Ted Williams hit dingers than sit in a hot gym and watch a bunch of guys get their cardio in. But even in its infancy, the NBA still came down to that one thing: scoring. And in 1947, no one could score the ball better than this guy, Joe Fulks, the NBA's first bucket getter. With unshakable confidence and a silky smooth jump shot, Joe became the first record holder for the most points in an NBA career with 7,021. But Joe's record wouldn't last thanks to a young and up-and-coming talent by the name of George Mikan. In 1952, George Mikan would surpass Joe's scoring record and become the first NBA player to surpass 10,000 career points. 5 digits, a historic milestone for the league. But it would only be 2 seasons after Mikan's retirement that his record would also fall, this time to the all-time great talent of Dolph Schayes in 1958. Schayes would go on to hold the record for 6 years and elevate the total to over 18,000 career points, a massive jump from the previous record. But Dolph's time as the NBA's leading scorer was a brief one, because in 1964, just 1 season before retiring, the great Bob Pettit eclipsed Schayes' previous record and became the first NBA player to surpass the 20,000 mark, establishing a new record of 20,000.
You just set in the levels for the next people to come.
That should have held up for many years to come, if it wasn't for this guy, one of the greatest scorers to ever play the game.
He's the first one I've heard of out of these.
Basketball. Wilt was such an unstoppable scorer that he not only shattered the all-time record, but he did it in just 7 seasons. And once Wilt obliterated the previous record, he would spend the next 7 seasons piling up a scoring total that was almost inconceivable at the time. The first player in NBA history to pass the 30,000 point mark, finishing his career with 31,419 points in 1974.
Joe did it first.
By the time Wilt retired, there wasn't a player within 5,000 points of him. His record safe for many, many years to come. It wasn't until a decade later that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar set a new all-time scoring record in 1984 with this skyhook. And through unwavering consistency and a 20-year-long NBA career, Kareem would take the scoring record to a place that no one ever thought it could go. On April 23rd, 1989,
see the hooks coming from
afar.
The
final regular season points of his career, bringing the all-time scoring record to 38,387. Reporters, players, and coaches at the time, and ever since, calling the record indestructible, safe from being touched or disturbed for as long as the game existed. It would take a nearly perfect player, designed to play the game at the highest level with ultra-elite scoring ability, unmatched consistency, and a career that spans across decades. He would have to stay healthy and avoid the sharp decline late in his career that every athlete inevitably faces. It couldn't possibly happen. In theory, this record could be broken, but in reality, this player just didn't exist.
Guys, if you are new around here, please do click that subscribe button down below. 88% of people watching the videos aren't subscribed, and if you just click that subscribe button, those 88% of people, this channel can reach 20,000 subscribers, which would be absolutely amazing. So please click it. Thank you.
And then LeBron James showed up and changed all of that. Combine a
Young
generational scoring
Bron.
talent with the size and strength of an ox, the speed of a point guard, and the mind of a basketball savant. And tireless discipline, matched with a love for the game to continue to push and climb 20 years into his career.
You got so many cold highlights.
LeBron James has officially become the NBA's all-time leading scorer. But long before LeBron's inevitable climb as the NBA's all-time leading scorer, he was just another young talent with a whole lot to prove. The only thing standing between him and...
One thing I just want to address as well is on Instagram and Twitter in England, people were giving, not LeBron, like stick for it, but basketball as a sport. They were kind of saying it was cringe how they stopped the game to celebrate and stuff. But I don't think many people realized how long this record had been held, like outside of America, and how hard that record was to beat. And I don't know if you guys saw that side of the internet that was kind of laughing at basketball a bit, but it was kind of ridiculous for people to laugh at it because they were uneducated on the matter. So we'll just address that there. You got to celebrate a guy like that, even if you're interrupting the game. I fully understand
basketball immortality was 38,388 points.
If it was a playoff game, then no. But, you know, this kid's pretty good. How good?
6 from the field.
Is he better than MJ? Let me know down in the comments.
This was the first time I had ever watched LeBron live. I was just a kid, and I faintly remember hearing the name LeBron James in the years leading up to this moment. The hype, everyone talking about him, he was in commercials and on billboards. But this was my first memory of him actually playing basketball. It was quite the first impression, and immediately I knew this was my guy. I was officially a fan of the NBA and a fan of LeBron James. And this poster on Tim Duncan was the 6,329th point of LeBron's career.
Tim Duncan,
the
what a
idea
player.
of him one day breaking the all-time scoring record was not even on the table yet. That wouldn't happen until a decade later.
Not if.
Around 2017, the idea of LeBron one day becoming the all-time leader in points began to float around. It wasn't a matter of if he would break the record, but when. The earliest instance I could find of LeBron being mentioned for the all-time scoring record was in an article by John Hollinger all the way back in 2009. In this article, John used a formula to try and predict when NBA records could possibly be broken and who might break them. And 14 years ago, the most likely candidates to break Kareem's record were Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and Carmelo Anthony. Another article was written by Adam Formal in 2015, which had multiple projections and calculations on
John was ahead of a time here though, but Carmelo,
when LeBron could break the all-time scoring record.
Great player.
With scary accuracy, each model predicted that LeBron would break the record sometime in 2023. This model in particular narrowed down the date to sometime in early 2023. But if you look at the trajectory of LeBron's career, we should have saw this coming long before we crunched the numbers. Because LeBron was the youngest player in NBA history to reach 1,000 career points, surpassing the point total just 41 days after his 19th birthday.
What was I doing when I was 19?
LeBron was also the youngest player to reach 2,000 career points, and 3,000 career points, and 4,000, and 5,000, and every single career point milestone all the way up to his record-breaking total. LeBron's path to scoring the most points in NBA history was set into place the moment he stepped onto an NBA court. Now, is this scoring record a testament to LeBron's dominance and sheer ability, or is this record a demonstration of longevity?
Both. Is your answer there, mate? Both.
Or is it both? In the NBA, 20 points per game has been the standard for a good or possibly even great score, depending on what era that player played in. 20 points a game may not sound like much these days, but the list of great players to average 20 throughout their careers include Dirk Nowitzki, Paul George, Tracy McGrady, Kawhi Leonard, Paul Pierce, and DeMarcus Cousins. In fact, of the thousands of players who've laced up in the NBA, only 74 have a career average of at least 20 points per game. Now, if a player averages 20 points per game, and let's say they play at least 72 games a season for every season of their career, how long do you think it would take that player to even touch LeBron's record? 22 seasons? Maybe 24 seasons?
I was going to say 25.
No. A player averaging 20 points per game every year while only missing 10 games a season would reach LeBron's scoring total somewhere towards the end of his 26th season in the NBA. But that's what it would take to reach LeBron's current record. The man is still one of the league's leading scorers with no signs of slowing down.
And he wants to play with Bronny.
This is not just some feat demonstrating how long LeBron has been playing in the league. It's evidence of his absolute dominance on the game for 2 decades. So really all anyone would have to do to beat this record in the future is score the ball better than anyone in the history of the NBA and play the game longer than anyone in NBA history ever has. And yeah, sure, they could break this new scoring record because the volume of LeBron's scoring is just as impressive as the persistence of his scoring. Are y'all familiar with Pistons center Jalen Duren? Young guy, solid player. He hasn't done anything notable in his NBA career.
I watch some NBA, but I normally just tune in towards the end of the season, playoffs and that. I'm not like a hardcore NBA fan like some of you guys will be. I don't know this kid.
Yet, except he is the first and currently the only player in the league that is younger than LeBron's NBA career. LeBron made his NBA debut on October 29th, 2003. Jalen Duren was born November 18th, 2003. LeBron has been getting NBA buckets for longer than this NBA player has been on this earth. This isn't just longevity. This is superhuman. In fact, the last time LeBron failed to score double digits in a regular season game was all the way back in 2007. His famous streak of double-digit scoring now at 1,140 games, which just sounds like an impossibly large number. But to really grasp just how long LeBron's been on this streak, here's a chart of the longest.
Did he spend a crazy amount of money on his health as well, which
LeBron
obviously is
all the way
working.
At the top with 1,140, and let's work our way down until we find the next longest active streak. It's not in the thousands, it's not nearly 800 or 700, still not even close at 500. Keep going, keep going. And stop.
Oh, my man Tatum,
though. Active streak of 109 consecutive games. Joel Embiid has the second longest streak of games scoring double digits, which means at his current pace, and if LeBron's streak ended today, Embiid could break LeBron's consecutive double-digit scoring record sometime during the 2041 NBA season. And I think we could add this to the list of records that will never be touched for the rest of time. So with LeBron breaking the once unbreakable record, what will his new record end up being when it's all said and done? LeBron has said on multiple occasions that he wants to and feels capable of playing into his early 40s. He's also said that he wants to play with his son in the NBA
that would be
and that
mad
his ultimate goal is to win a championship with his son, which gives us a rough timeline of his last years in the league. Next season will be Bronny's freshman year in college, and he'll more than likely have to play at least 2 years of college ball before he has a real shot of making it to the NBA. So that means Bronny's first season in the league will be the 2025-2026 season, which puts LeBron's final season as roughly the 2026-2027 NBA season.
If you're a team, do you draft Bronny ahead of a better player to have this picture taken in your team's jersey? Do you do it? Imagine the marketing on that. Imagine it would be iconic, wouldn't it? But it's also a tough position. Would you take, because he's not going to be like a #1 pick from what I hear. I don't know too much about him myself, but from what I hear, he's good, but he's not like the best in his class, right? Would you do it? Because LeBron is going to find a way to make it to your team. Interesting conversation to be had.
Now time for the hard part.
I'll let you argue in the comments down below.
Throughout his last 4 seasons in the league? Well, here is the overall trajectory of his points per game over the last 20 years. And as you can see from the data, LeBron is a statistical anomaly. Not only has he been impossibly consistent for 20 seasons, but over the last 2 seasons, his scoring average has actually increased, which just confirms my suspicions that he was in fact made in a lab. But these numbers don't tell the whole story, because in order to average these numbers, LeBron has had to fight off injuries and fatigue in recent years, which makes the trajectory of his total points each season look like this. His aging becoming a bit clearer from this perspective. This current season has been a bit of an outlier since he's been chasing the all-time scoring record, but if we take the information we have and try our best to factor in the variables that will dictate the next few years of his career, injuries, fatigue, and aging, then by his last season, LeBron will end up somewhere around here, finishing his career averaging about 24 points per game in his final season and adding another 6,740 points to his existing record of 38,411. Which brings his total career points to 45,151. And we can round this number to about 45,000. If Kareem's previous record was nearly impossible to break, then I can say with 100% certainty, without a shadow of a doubt, that we will never see anyone break LeBron's scoring record in our lifetime. I mean, this total is so massive, it almost doesn't even make sense. Excluding LeBron, there's only been 7 players in NBA history who have even passed 30,000 career points. Among active players, Kevin Durant is the closest to LeBron's scoring total. And after 15 of some of the most prolific scoring seasons we've ever seen, Kevin Durant is still nearly 12,000 points behind LeBron.
Shaq really surprised me on this list. I had no idea that Shaq had that many points in his career. I should have known that, but I didn't. I wouldn't have put him up there with those names of scorers. Look at him, 28,596. And that's while sharing a court with Kobe. So you know the points could have been higher if they weren't playing together. For both of them.
Which means that if LeBron James retired today at Durant's current pace, averaging about 27 points per game, playing 55 games a season, even if he maintained this level of production, it would take Durant 8 more seasons until the ripe age of 42 before he even catches up to LeBron's current career point total. Keep going down the list of active NBA players with the most career points, and there's no one even close to being on track to beat this record. James Harden's already 33 years old, Westbrook is 34, Chris Paul is 37, DeRozan's 33, Steph is about to be 35. Damian Lillard's got the most interesting path here, but even he's 32 years old and about 10,000 points behind LeBron at this point in his career. The first player on this list that is still on the upslope of his career is Giannis, but because of his slow start when he entered the league, he is about 6,000 points off pace from where LeBron was at this point in his career. So it's clear that a player who will even have a shot at breaking LeBron's all-time scoring record is not on this side of the leaderboard. So let's take a different angle here. What about the young guys? With the increase of pace and offensive output the NBA has seen over the last few seasons, are there any young stars who are on pace to catching LeBron in the future? After 5 NBA seasons, LeBron James had already surpassed the 10,000 career point threshold, finishing his 5th NBA season with 10,689 total career points on 27.3 points per game. And among the most prolific scoring young players in the NBA, these 7 are the only players that are even remotely.
Let's have a look. We got Luka, Joel Embiid. So Luka's the only one above, right? But his career points aren't there.
Close to a young LeBron. Morant, Giannis, Booker, Mitchell, Trey, Embiid, and Luka. At the moment, Luka Doncic is the only player in the entire NBA who has a higher career point per game average than LeBron James, and Joel Embiid being just slightly behind LeBron's point per game average. Now, if we chart each player's point trajectory, then we get something like this. And immediately it becomes clear that even amongst the best young players in the NBA, no one really even comes close. But instead of looking at these scoring totals through the lens of seasons and games played, what if we looked at their age? LeBron joined the NBA as an 18-year-old, giving himself a head start on most other players. If we graph these point totals based on age, then the gap between LeBron and everyone else gets even bigger. Because the reality is that there is no one in the NBA who even has a remote chance of beating LeBron's all-time scoring record. To find that player, we would have to jump into a time machine and travel into the future. If a player wants even a chance at touching this record, he will have to enter the league as a polished superstar. No time to waste developing his skills or learning the ins and outs of the league.
Just gotta
He'll need
go.
to be one of the most productive scorers ever. Talking 28, 29 points per game every year for over 2 decades without missing a beat. And in a league that doesn't really care about the regular season, he'll have to go against the grain and suit up nearly every single game while avoiding injuries for over 20 years. So, if I'm being honest, I don't think a time machine will help us here, because by the time he retires, LeBron's scoring record will be so absurd that no one will ever be able to break it. Hope you all enjoyed.
I did enjoy
and
it.
As always, until next time.
And it just, I should have paused that a second earlier there with a cold shot of LeBron, but we got him on the come down here. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree? No one ever beaten this record. I mean, he's convinced me. He's fully convinced me. This was a great video, well put together. Go and subscribe to the channel. It's JXMY High Roller, I believe it's called. He's got millions of subscribers, but please do go and check his videos. Excellent YouTuber. I really enjoyed it. I don't think anyone's beating him. Honestly, I don't think anyone is ever going to after seeing this video. Let me know what you think. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you for the next one. Take it easy. Peace.